Check. Welcome to another live stream. Let's take Skycam off the air. Welcome. It has been a crazy afternoon. That's my drama, not your drama. But in the chat, if you want to hear anything about what just happened, then just say yes. I want to hear in the chat. I want to welcome you. Let's get chat enabled here so I can make it live and say hi to some folks that have already arrived. So let me steal my mouse. And I am Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios. We have fought a battle to get here, but the good news is everything seems to be working finally, but it wasn't working a little while ago. So again, if you want to hear about this afternoon's getting ready to go live drama, let me know. Yes, I want to know in the chat. If we get 2 or 3, I'll go ahead and tell you the story. If not, we're going to jump right in to today's topic. Let me put chat on the air. Let's click on this first, chat on the air. So please say hi in the chat and where you're from. And if your name is not in your YouTube handle, please share it in your hi tonight. And looks like I'm getting some yeses. I got a couple yeses that you want to hear about today. I need at least one more yes before I'm going to roll out the craziness. Let's see. Grish was in here quite early today. I think I launched the stream about 10:30. That means you can go ahead on the YouTube channel and you can chat with me. Sometimes I'm in here, sometimes I'm not, but Grish caught me. And so hi to Grish. And I responded to him really early today. It says he said hello from Spokane at 10:38 a.m. my time. And it's 4 p.m. my time now, Pacific Daylight Time, because we spring forward and fall back. So pretty soon we're going to be going back in time, but we've gone forward in time here in the state of Washington. And then I put this up. If we don't start on time, please stay around because we were having issues, which I've already alluded to. Yeah, I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Yes, yes. Okay, so I have 4 votes. We'll come back to that here in a minute as our first topic. DJ Ware, it is great to have you in the house. Grish, again, it's great to have you in the house. Hopefully you're back. I know a lot of times he pops in early and then jumps in after the stream gets going. Again, DJ Ware, thank you so much. And Hank is here. Says hello, Keith, and greetings as well to all from Hank in Bluffton, South Carolina. I think that's the first person that gave us a location. Then Noel is here. I think it's Photo Chat Podcast. I don't know if this is your first time. I can't keep track, Noel. I apologize. But if this is your first time, let me know. And even if it isn't, welcome to the chat. It says hello from San Juan, Puerto Rico. User of an ATEM Mini Pro Extreme ISO and Mini ISO plus YOLO Box Ultra. That's pretty cool. You have some really good gear there. I'm going to be sharing a bunch of hacks tonight. I use a lot of hacks. Some of you are aware of my hacks. We're also going to talk about the new RodeCaster video update. It's pretty huge. I've already put a couple links in the description tonight. Was going to go add more to the description, but that will bring us to our challenges here in just a minute. But good to have you, Noel. David, it's great to have you from Australia down under. So I'll tell you where you're at, but David's been traveling in his RV all over the outback. And so anyway, David, we'd love to know what part of Australia you're in now. Are you home? Are you on the road? Shannon and I just got back from a trip in our travel trailer, and we are leaving again in 2 weeks, and we'll talk more about that later today. Let's see. I'm not sure what that yes means. DJ Ware, sorry, I missed something. Photo chat, yes. Oh, I know what this yes means. Yes, you want to hear about the craziness today. Yes, inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, I want to know too, Justin. Good to know that Justin wants to know. And Justin, thank you for that chat. It's good to have you. I don't see a hi from you earlier. Let me just go back and see if I missed it. I don't see it. So let us know. CWS Pod. It's Justin, and let us know, Justin, where you are. Acquiring minds want to know. Glenn B, it's good to have you. Glenn from Las Vegas. If you want to know, cool. I got to be in Las Vegas with one of my clients. It was a blast. Got to do some work in his studio. That was really cool. Official artist, M from Colorado Springs. Thank you for the update. Just got home for a short time, so David is home. Okay, so today, as I got ready, I start my preparation for, man, my computer is blacking out. I'm going to change that here in a minute. That's a setting that I did, and I need to change the time on that. That's going to drive me crazy. Let me also go into my phone, and let's turn that on silent. And let me do one other thing on my phone, because we're going to be using this here in a minute. Going to settings. What I'm doing is I'm turning automatic lock off. I turn it to never. Under the settings, I'm not sure if you guys can see that or not. The lights are pretty bright. If I hold that over my face, it should focus, semi-focus, because I have that on face detection. That's my Canon EOS R. So, okay, got that set, because we're going to be using Filmic Pro here in a few seconds to show you my desk. But tonight, as I was getting ready to do what I normally do, which is get chat ready to display on the screen, I do that from my PC using OBS, and then also get it live on my laptop. That's where I launched the live stream. So I went to do that, and this has happened to me a couple other times. I couldn't even bring up my live video. So what you do, let me just kind of show you this. Let me get it set up here, and then I'll show you guys this. Okay, we're going to go ahead and show you this because it's still glitching. So me and my laptop. So you go to your manage page, and under lives, and up here should be tonight's live. And then you click on the little go live icon, which is on live streams that haven't gone live yet. And then that takes you to a page that looks very similar to this. More like, let's see, live page. This page right here. You can pop out chat right over here. And I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't get ready to go live. I couldn't access it on either my PC, which is I control on a pad right here. This is my PC keyboard. And then I have my laptop over here, and I might as well show you guys this stuff tonight, because many of you have not seen my studio. So in all fairness to those of you that are new, let's be kind. And I will go back to me and my laptop, and I'm going to change what is in. And I've had this other strange glitch. Let's go ahead and hit record. So now I am recording if I need any of these ISO recordings. But even my ATEM software has been closing down. So let me go into super source box number 2, and I'm going to change this to here. And this phone should come up. Nope. Not coming up. What is the deal? I set this up earlier. Like I said, we've been having some serious glitches. Let's go back to me and a logo. Let me go over here, and let's open up control software. Output number 2 is supposed to be that. Okay. and I should, oh, it would help if I plug it in. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. Let's go back to me and my laptop. Let's change what's in box 2 to that. Okay, so here is my laptop station, and I use this to go live. And then I have my PC station. My PC shows up on the bottom part of my bin queue. One of my favorite purchases is about $1,100, but this is the 32-inch monitor. Sorry, I'm kind of on the wrong side here, which I can go into SuperSource and change this. Let's put that there, and this over here looks more realistic. Box 2 needs to come back just a touch here. So I have this screen right here. So my PC's right there, my HyperDeck HD Plus, which is this unit right here. I have a light in front of it. That's why I rolled the intro on. I also have the older version right here. That's the HyperDeck MINI. This does do key and fill, where the new HD model does not. So the older version has key and fill. And then I have my 2 extremes, and we're going to talk about hacks for these. And I have my ATEM Mini Pro. So this is my PC. That shows my HyperDeck. That's my multi-view. And then this is my laptop. So I have my laptop there where I have the software opened. And then I also have a laptop screen here. But this is my only PC screen when I'm live. But I also can cast right up here from my PC. And you can see it actually says PC. And so if I was to go over here with my mouse, let's minimize this because it was fine, and bring back up OBS. So if I was to turn one of these cameras on, you'll see then it shows up right here. So I will bring this back on the screen. I don't know what happened. Got a key on here. There you go. So this now displays right up here, and that's also how I bring chat in. This is my PC screen. And so if I turn this off, let's go to my wireless microphone here. You guys should be hearing me on my wireless microphone. Slide this out of my way. And so this is OBS right here, and I couldn't get chat to work. So chat is right here now, working fine. So if I hit transition and go over here, and let's go back and click on Dave has just got home, and you can see it pops up right there, and it pops up right there. And then if I hit chat on the air, then it pops up for you guys. Turn chat back off the air. So my PC, that's my second screen for my PC, and this is my first screen for my PC. And that's kind of how things work in the studio. Well, I have to open up YouTube over here on my PC. Let's open up YouTube. And so I've popped out chat, but it wouldn't even show me chat right here. So I don't know what was going on. I couldn't get it to display my live stream. And then when I get my live stream to finally display and I'd click on it, I would get nothing here. This would be completely empty. So I had to do it like 15 times. I reset my network, all kinds of things. But YouTube today was not, what is that called? Bringing in my live streams, including the one that was about to go live. And if I can't get it to pop up in Google under YouTube Studio and get ready to go live, I can't do that from a laptop or a PC, then I can't go live. Now, I could have just gone live on my ATEM. I had it all set up, and it would have gone live, but I wouldn't have had chat. I wouldn't have been able to see the progress on my laptop. Like right now, it says there is an error. I have a duplicate key. So I'm not really sure what's going on. But I know I'm still on the air because the other is telling me I'm on the air live. So I have 2 ways to check on it. Still not sure what's going on over here with the duplicate stream, but it's pretty crazy what's going on. Now, I have a lot of stuff in my studio. I've had to have a lot of hacks, and that is one of the reasons why I wanted to do tonight's video and also talk about the update that is come out for the RodeCaster video. Now, I don't own a RodeCaster video. It's on the top of my purchase list. You know, it's over $1,100, those of you that have checked it out. This update that just came out is pretty powerful. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. And then we're going to close tonight talking about these different hacks for the ATEM Mini, ATEM Mini Pro. Now, I know of about 20 hacks, but I don't have time to cover them all tonight. So I have about 14 that I want to touch on. Some of them I've touched on before. Some of them I've already talked a little bit about tonight, but I do want to give you the opportunity to look at those. And then some of them I've actually done videos here on my channel. So if all goes well here with YouTube, I am going to bring those videos up. So let me go back to YouTube here on my laptop, and I want to get one particular series ready. And I just shared this recently with a client, so we'll talk about that when we get to these hacks. And again, I have a whole list of them here, and it goes on to another page. So I plan on putting those links to those videos that I've done before right here in the description. I will do that before the end of tonight, so you may have to come back to get some of them because I couldn't even go in to edit the description in my video right before we went live tonight. Again, another glitch in YouTube. So not sure what's going on. I reset my network. I'm going to reset my whole house network. I couldn't do that right before I went live because my wife is working upstairs. She had a client and she uses her laptop, so that would have taken the internet away from her, and that would have been something that would not have been good tonight come after the live stream. So again, I think I said hi to everybody that I saw so far in the chat. Grish has said one thing here, so let's go back in here to my OBS and let's get chat ready to go back on the air. It is ready. So let's change who we're looking at right here. Let's go chat on the air here. So I have a 4K ATEM, but I have an issue with some of the inputs not functioning. I've had it for a few years and my experience with the switcher has been frustrating. Yeah, I would say I've never had a 4K ATEM. Usually they're pretty reliable. I've had some issues. I just replaced an ATEM Extreme ISO. I purchased another used one, so that's what we're live streaming from tonight. Some of the issues I was having with the one I replaced, I am still having. So I have ISO recording set right now because I've had it actually stop recording when I have ISO turned off and I'm only recording one channel of the program. I've had it shut down in about an hour and 45 minutes, and my live streams have been going up to 2 hours, so I lost the end of that program record. If I wanted to upload any shorts or anything like that, which I rarely do, I lost that video, so it's a good thing. I don't do a lot with the videos I'm recording, but I do archive the YouTube channel, the live stream, because there might be a clip that I want to go back to make available for one of my clients, because if I'm teaching it here, I might as well just put together a quick video, put it in a Google Drive and share that with the client rather than having to completely reteach something that I've already done on my channel. And because I don't always do chapter markers and all of those things that you could do to help people find certain videos and certain segments, that's just one of the things that I can do with my recordings. So my Extreme got replaced. I'm still having the software close down on me. It seems like once I go live and start recording ISO tracks, it stays open, but if I'm not doing anything with it, it seems to time out and then shut down. So for whatever reason, you are having wireless choppy issues. Well, I am streaming at HyperDeck, not HyperDeck High. I'm streaming at Streaming High at 6 megabytes approximately a second. So it should be 1080p out there. So if anybody else is having glitches as well, let me know. You're pretty choppy of some kind. So again, we may be having some wireless issues tonight. I apologize. So I would just hit refresh. Again, I might be having trouble with this streaming key duplication issue. Let me just try to reset this. Oh, choppy was in reference to the wireless mic. Okay, wireless mic from earlier. You're good now. Okay, so good to know. Okay, so now that we said hi to everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Let's dive into tonight's topic. Let's do this first. Let's let me bring in some slides here. Let me do let's see, do I have a macro? We'll do me and my laptop again, and I'm going to change what is in box 2 to, what do I want here? I want to have media player 1. I'm going to use this as a slideshow. So we're going to turn the key off, and let's do this. So many of you know about the RodeCaster video. This is a device that Rode came out with. I've already owned a RodeCaster Pro. I have this wireless kit right here. I had to buy the case. This is a wireless Go 2. I have a wireless Go 2 on. I have the receiver and another transmitter in the case. So I'll just switch to this real quick in the case. And so you guys can see that focus is up there. But I bought a kit with a receiver and a transmitter. And then I bought another transmitter, and then I bought the case. So I have that. I have 2 RodeCaster Pro 2s. One's in a bag in my closet for remote podcasting. I also have the old RodeCaster Pro, the original version. So I'm very familiar with RodeCaster Rode products. I have a couple Rode mics, which I shared in last week's video. But I do not own a RodeCaster video. But I have been watching every update. I've been watching lots of videos. I'm studying it. I am making myself aware of the software. So when, not if, but when I get mine, I will be able to dive right in. I will use it a few times going live just to get used to the software. And then I'm going to do some videos on it because I want to recommend this to some of my clients. And if I'm going to recommend it, I need to be able to train on it. So as soon as Shannon and I can scrape together that money, that's going to be added to my studio. And I will be using this primarily for all of my remote streams when I do remote streams, just because it's very intuitive and you can pretty much run the whole thing. Most of it, you can run from the little screen on the front of it. But they just announced a update. So let's pop that in here. So now they have the update, RodeCaster Video Firmware 1.2.0. And here are the things that they've added. I want to talk about these a little bit. You have NDI support, though if you watch the link in the description, Aaron Parecki came out with a video, I think either late yesterday or today. And if you haven't checked out Aaron's channel, check the link below. I have his video link below. He also said that this does not support the same NDI that comes out of OBS. So you're not going to be able to do NDI out of OBS and use it to bring in graphics. Because now not only can it bring in up to 4 channels of NDI, it can also output 1 channel of NDI. You can also integrate through your iPhone with their capture app. So now you can remotely come in with your iPad app. Again, it's not for any other type phones. It's only for Apple iPad, and you would use the RodeCapture. You now have PTZ control. And just to highlight some of these, I wanted to just talk about them one at a time, so we'll come back to that in a minute. You also have advanced rounded corners in their different layouts. So if you have picture-in-picture or 2 people side by side, you can now round the corners. They've added in advanced keying, audio video linking. What does that mean? You can actually link your RodeCaster Pro 2 or your Duo with your RodeCaster video, and then you will be able to actually use the 2 microphones or the 4 microphones and assign them to a different camera HDMI input, and now you can do audio follows video. So let's say I'm in your podcast, right? My wife is in your podcast, you're in your podcast, then you have your producer in your podcast. You now can use the 4 microphone inputs on your RodeCaster Pro 2, or just 2 of them on your Duo, link it all together, and then assign a camera input to me, a camera input to Shannon, and a camera input to you, a camera input to your producer. And then as you set the auto settings, it will then, video will follow audio. So when I'm talking, it would cut to me. When my wife is talking, it would cut to her. When 2 people are talking, you can have it probably cut to whatever, a camera, a wide shot if you wanted to. And then you could have it cut to the producer when he's talking, if he's talking, and to you as well when you're talking. And that is really cool, because now you've added a way to bring in a regular RodeCaster Pro Duo or RodeCaster Pro 2 into your show and use the microphones that you've already put in front of your talent as the microphones that will key the video. I think that's huge. NDI is huge. PTZ control is huge. In fact, now you can bring in PTZ cameras into it, because again, basically NDI is enabled, and so that will be able to bring in the PTZ cameras as well as using the Capture NDI app by Rode. Okay, then the other thing is the video linking and then inputs and overlays. So now you have the ability to use OBS with the font on the screen, and you can use that as a lower thirds, because now you can key out black. You don't have to make an OBS layout with green background and then chroma key it. You can now just actually chroma key out black, which is really huge. So most of this on my right-hand side here, you could use if it was coming in for OBS, and you could get rid of all of the black layer. And if it was all black, then you would just have transparent writing on the screen. And I use OBS like that all the time, but I come in through the HDMI out of my laptop and the HDMI out of my PC into my ATEM. And that's how I bring it in. It would be really cool to be able to do all that NDI, but you can't do it NDI yet. You still have to do all of that keying through OBS by using the HDMI out in your Mac or the HDMI out in your PC. Hopefully that will be fixed. I also put the NDI, let me open up my Word document here. I had to close when I rebooted the system, and I will tell you what Aaron said in his video today. No, it is in my description. So let's see. Or did I write it down on my notepad too? I think it's NDI HX, I believe is what Aaron said in his video. But if you go to my YouTube description for tonight, let me bring up my page here. See if I can access this description now. Good to know I am live. Yeah, it's NDI HX. So is I'll read what I put in here in the notes directly from Aaron's video today, and I gave him credit. NDI HX is what the RodeCaster Pro video now supports. Make sure you make a note. Also, the NDI and OBS is not HX or NDI HX. For whatever reason, it will not be able to NDI into one of the NDI inputs, and you can have 4 of those come in to your live stream. So now let's just take a moment and break a few of these down. Then I'll take some questions. But I just thought it would be really cool to just focus on a couple of these and talk about why I think they're powerful. So receive up to 4 NDI sources. So again, you could have 4 PTZ cameras in your studio, or another type NDI is available through an app. You could have someone sending a signal into your studio from outside, and now you can actually assign one of each of those 4 to an input and then bring that live on the air, and you can put yourself side by side with that guest. In my opinion, that's really cool. You don't need a streaming bridge like with an ATEM or an ATEM Extreme. So that's one of the features that really excites me about this product. It's pretty cool. So, and like I said, because it has NDI, you can now cast one NDI output. So that means that you could be sending out NDI from your RodeCaster video as well. And you could just use your imagination. There's a lot of things you could be doing with that. You could be sending that to a site to stream. You could be sending that someplace else in your network. You could send that to a monitor through a CAT cable, which really does cut down on HDMI cables, and that's really cool. And then the fact that you can now iPhone integrate with RodeCatster, you can actually, with this software, you can put two people side by side. So that's pretty cool. So you can now enable both sides of your iPhone. You can have that be two NDI feeds into your RodeCaster video, or you can combine them side by side and do what you see in this picture right here. And I capture these pictures directly from the release video from Rode, and that is in the link below. I loved the bloopers at the very end of that announcement video with their gal, who is incredible. She does a great job on Rode's video. So integrating the phone, being able to use both cameras, being able to combine them. So you could put a phone between you and a guest and do a video podcast, and you would be side by side on the NDI feed to your RodeCaster video or to some other recorder. But you could also have two NDI feeds, and then you could format that yourself on the screen. So you can either format it directly from the phone side by side, or you can have two NDI feeds and format it inside. What I love about the phone part of it is that you can actually then save one NDI feed and only have to use the phone combined feed, which would look just exactly like this. Now, if you didn't combine them, then it would be one portrait on each side or one landscape on each side of your NDI feed. So if you're going to do this, you would do portrait side by side, or you could do landscape. And they show you exactly how to do that in the video, which is linked below from Rode's announcement. And I do have some more slides, but let's just power through these. Next, you have PTZ camera control. Here's actually a picture of the software with PTZ enabled. So you just have to go in there, enable the camera in an input. And then once you've enabled the camera in the input, you enable the PTZ controller, and now you can take your mouse and move the PTZ camera around. You can also, you can see the buttons below. You can update 4 or 8 locations. So you could have a zoom in shot, a wide shot, panning around the room. You could have 8 locations programmed in to the software, but you do have to use a laptop and you do have to use the software in order to control this device. You also now, guys, have the ability to do rounded corners. So you can now use this for picture-in-picture and round the corners all the way to round, or you could just have them barely rounded. But now you can see I drew a little arrow where it is in the software where you're going to go ahead and make those adjustments. Also, you have Luma Key and Key Mask tools. That's really cool. Here's an example. Now you can actually, again, get rid of the black, bring in some graphics from like HDR graphics or OBS, and then bring them in via your PC. You can also now use a deck link card to bring in graphics from OBS, and I believe you can bring those directly in. Aaron Parecki talks about that in his video. It's linked below. And obviously a shout out to Aaron diving in. He's the one that announced, I never heard that it was a different NDI version, that you couldn't use OBS's NDI out into the RodeCaster video because it's not compatible. That's a Aaron Parecki catch. He also talked about how you can use this new ability to do the Luma Key and be able to then fade out the background so that you can actually put a lower third below you. Aaron also talks about how to set it up so you can have a lower third and then have it use the keyer and the Luma feature so that you don't have to take up a scene to have a graphic below each camera angle. So you could go from 4 different camera angles and have the same graphic now below you, just like I'm able to do when I go to have my lower thirds. Right now I'm using it for this slideshow. So the other thing that you can do now is that you can crop those keys in and be able to, let's say your green screen was not full screen, then you can crop in now with a crop feature so that the sides of your green screen won't look horrible. Obviously, remember, you can't stretch your arms past the crop, but if your green screen is smaller than your widescreen shot, now you have the ability with this firmware update. Again, firmware is version 1.2.0, and you can go download that now. I did put a link in the description to download that. So that cropping feature is really cool, and they actually even demo cropping a green screen behind her that's really small, plus the ability to have a graphic with a black background and then key out the black just like you can in the ATEM. That's really huge. Input as an overlay. So you can use a input now as a overlay. And that's what we just talked about. And again, that's what took place with the keying feature. You also have the ability now to have the audio link feature, which I talked about, linking the RodeCaster video with the RodeCaster Pro 2 or the RodeCaster Duo. And then you could actually link those microphones and have those coordinate. Also, they updated the ability to do a separate mix out of the RodeCaster Pro video. So if you want to go out the NDI out and have a separate audio mix, or out of HDMI 1 or HDMI 2, you now can do a separate audio mix. So you can decide exactly what you want to go out those channels. That's really important for like a confidence monitor. You want to use NDI to go to a confidence monitor for the whole group. Then you could send what microphones you want there. You could just send the program audio to that. And then maybe the video channel audio to that, so that when you guys go cut to a video, the video will play in the studio. Or if you're on live, you don't want any audio going out of the NDI, you can turn it way down so it can't be heard through your microphones, but you can still know the audio is working in your monitor in the studio. Or if it's in another room where you want to have a group of people watching the podcast, then you could send a mix to that room by using this new feature. You also have the ability when you mute a mic, now I don't have a slide for this to pop in, but now you can see the audio levels. And I think I have a slide in a folder here. Let me open up tonight's folder because I did not have enough slots to put all of these clips in. So let me see if I can find that one clip. Come back to those shots. Do I have a sample of this? I'll go ahead and show this right now because it's pertinent. I need to drop this right here. I'll drop it in here. So here's an example of them on either side of an iPhone. They have hit the combine button so that it can be seen. If you wonder what that looks like, let's see right here. Here is that combine button. You can see on the screen right there. There's a number of steps for you to do that. That is just one of them. Here's another step right there in the software when you're in the camera app. And here is another step So all of these are covered in their video, and they actually demo how to set this up so that you can have this side by side layout, just like that, when you're sitting across from each other. The other thing for rounded corners is right here. You can see the settings that you would use for rounding those corners. Here's a round picture-in-picture that's now available using the software. So you're able to set that up as well. That is covered in their video. And then here is the ability now to set up these overlays and have them below you on the screen. And they actually added the ability to stretch and squeeze this as well. I do not have a slide for that, but I did do quite a bit of research, and I did show that slide. Showed that one. So again, some pretty cool features available in this firmware update. Here again is a review of the changes that they've made, and then each of these are covered one at a time inside the RodeCaster video, and then Aaron Parecki does that as well, and I'm sure other videos are going to pop up. But again, that is firmware 1.2.0, and again, PTZ camera control is available in there. So you're going to be able to use your PTZ camera if you have one. You're going to be able to crop in the Luma Key now and cut out green screen if you need to. A chroma key in, cut out green screen edges that aren't covering the entire background. You're going to be able to bring fonts on the air now. You're going to be able to change mixes in your outputs. You're going to be able to link RodeCaster Pro 2, RodeCaster Duo with your RodeCaster video so that you can use the microphones now, assigning them to different inputs so you can do audio follows video. So that's a big update. I love this iPhone integration with RodeCapture that you can use two NDI inputs by using both sides of your phone. So the camera, and it'll use that, or you can combine them to do one NDI feed into your live stream. Let's see what else. And then again, having inputs as an overlay and being able to have an NDI output. Again, I think the only problem with this update, in my opinion, is that it does not have the same NDI that OBS uses. And that's a little disappointing because that'd be really cool to be able to, if I had the RodeCaster video in my studio and wanted to use it as a main device when I'm doing a live stream, so I could demo different things on it, or have it integrated in my studio, it would be nice to be able to bring those graphics directly in NDI, and it's disappointing that they can't. Now, there is no NDI license that's required with this update, so you get 4 NDI outputs or inputs that you can bring in assigned to any one of the 8 inputs. You have the ability now to do an NDI output, and there is no extra license required in order to do that. So that is my chat about the new RodeCaster video firmware update announced again today. There you go, RodeCaster video firmware v1.2.0. So cool. So spent a lot of time on that today. Really wanted to digest what these new features are. And in review, let me just say this. I give a applaud to Rode. They continue to make updates in the RodeCaster Pro 2, the Duo, as well as the new RodeCaster video. I only wish that I had the funds right now to pull the trigger and purchase that. So many of you guys know that I have been volunteering with a tent ministry. I also was getting paid occasionally to do live engineering, bringing all my sound equipment, but I have pulled away from that to refocus in on the channel after I get back. So this is a segue to this announcement. I pulled back from that. Shannon and I bought a travel trailer, purchased a truck. Lots of things have changed in our world. Shannon's mom passed away, her dad's passed away. We no longer have those responsibilities. No more kids living with us. And so we really want to travel. And that was taking up most of my summers doing these tent events. And though it's a great cash flow, our time and Shannon's ability to be off call is so important to us. She's a midwife, which means that she's stuck in a 35-mile radius around our house usually. And when she gets off call, like she is off call this week and next week, we'll come into town for appointments, but there's no one right now planning to have a baby or due to have a baby. So that means that we can go out of town. So we are leaving on Thursday to fly to Tennessee. So I will not be live next Tuesday. Then when we get back, I will be going camping, but I will be back the following Tuesday in 2 weeks in order to go live. And that's going to be a shorter live stream because I'm only going to have about 3 hours from the time we pull in from parking our trailer in storage to the house, unpacking, and then getting ready for that Tuesday live stream. So I only want to miss one, and I'll miss that because I am not going to be here, but I do plan on taking some video because I'm meeting with my kind of adopted older brother, and we've always wanted to get together and talk about his studio. He has an ATEM Mini Pro as well as some camera equipment and a RodeCaster Pro version 1. And so we're going to talk about how he can set that up in his new house. So that's where I'm going to be next week. So I will not be live. I'm going to get it still ready tomorrow, announcing the topic for the following Tuesday. But next week I will not be live. So you can plan a date or something else next Tuesday. Okay. I don't have a graphic or anything for hacks, but let's go back into the comments here really quick and let's see what's being said here. Let me catch up, see who else has popped in. Let's see. It's live. So Noel says, love the new update for RodeCaster video. It's in my wish list too. Well, I know. I think a lot of people are wishing for this. I think David actually owns one. I don't know if anybody else here tonight owns one, but if you do have one, let me know. Also, I have a poll. Do you have one or more Blackmagic design hardware devices in your studio? Now, that's any Blackmagic design hardware. Right now, we have 16 votes. 80% of you have more than one Blackmagic design piece of hardware, and 12% of you said no. So a majority of us tonight have Blackmagic design equipment, and 12% of you do not. It's still cool that you're here because we are going to be talking as the months and years progressed about more things than just Blackmagic design equipment. So I ended that poll, and because I'm going to do another one here in just a second. So let's get that going here. Start a poll. And the question is, wrong laptop, wrong place to be typing. Do you have any hacks for your ATEMs? Do you have any hacks for your ATEMs? And that poll, no, I didn't want to add anything. See if I can get this to work right. Let me do this one up here. Clear that. There we go. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but okay. The new poll is, do you have any hacks for your ATEMs? Yes or no? If you guys would answer that poll, I'm just really curious. That's why I ended the other one. Let's get back into the chat here and catch up, and then we'll get into the hacks tonight. Yeah, new update is great. We have one in church and look forward to using it. That's cool. Just a quick commercial here. I do consult for churches. I have lots of experience in that. I announced a few months ago, or no, actually, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, what I did for years. And so if you ever need a free 1-hour consult, you can simply go to my website. Let me, because I'm talking about it, let me close this folder, and I will put this link in the chat here. On my contact page, there is a place that you can say you want a free consult. So you just need to put in your name and phone number, not phone number, your email, and then say free consult. So if you haven't used it, there's a free 1-hour consult. I love to do that just to connect with people that are here live on my channel or find my videos. And I have a new client this week, which we'll talk more about once he and I get started and he gives me his blessing. But there you go. The link is in description. Just fill out that, and I would be happy to, when I get back from vacation, set up a consult. Does the RodeCaster video have video or audio delay to get AV synchronized? Yeah, I think there is delay, though I've never owned one. I apologize for that. I'm pretty sure Aaron Parecki covers that on his channel, but I apologize for not having that answer. David does have a RodeCaster video, and he said he did update the RodeCaster yesterday. The NDI with the iPhone is cool. So, David, could you answer that question? Is there a audio delay setting? I know OBS has the ability to set delay. The RodeCaster, the ATEMs have the ability, and the control software on the audio page. We might as well show this now that we're talking about it. So, we go to the audio page in the RodeCaster Pro or RodeCaster Extreme. The delay is right here. You can see I have 4 frames of delay set up right now, and it's just available on mic 1 and mic 2. It's not available on the inputs, but it is available here. You can also sync audio by getting a device that has delay built into it. So you can send your 1/4 inch right and left into it, your video from your camera into it, and then like Roland makes one. They're not cheap, but they make one where you could actually then choose delay of the audio to catch up with the video, because usually the audio is too fast and the video is too slow. So you're almost always delaying audio when you need to do that syncing. So David can answer that, and let's look. David says, yes, you can delay audio. So thank you, David, for answering his question, and that's why we're together. Does the Rode version require the NDI runtime? I don't know this, DJ Ware. Does Rode version require the NDI runtime? I don't think you have to have if you're talking about the license, it does not require a license. It is included. What is NDI versus NDI HX? It's just different versions of it. I'm sure it's a licensed version. That's why OBS is not using it. Maybe Rode has access or paid for that license. I just think it's cool that they're not charging us for a license to use NDI. Yeah, that answers the question. It's incompatible with other NDI streams. So again, having it be NDI HX maybe keeps it just exclusive to the RodeCaster video, so you're not able to use other devices, which makes no sense. If they really want more people to buy a RodeCaster video, I would hope you would be using something that could be used by OBS, because NDI into a RodeCaster video from OBS would be game changer. So that would be amazing. So you still can't bring OBS in, but you have to use the HDMI out of your PC or your Mac to bring it in, and then you have to key it But if it was NDI in, then you could probably just use that as a source for your key and then not have to use up an input. But again, I'm not a RodeCaster video owner, so that would be a question for David or for Aaron Parecki, one of those guys. And Aaron Parecki is live, I believe, every Sunday at 9 o'clock now, either 9 or 10 o'clock, and he's a great place to go to learn about live streaming tech. And he talks about the RodeCaster video occasionally, YOLO box stuff all the time. In fact, last week he had a YOLO box Extreme. That's their latest model in his studio, and he demoed that. Okay, so please, how do you reduce the heat of an ATEM Mini Pro? I just got one, and the overheating just makes the device to malfunction. Now, I've noticed that people have problems with a ATEM overheating. You want to make sure there's nothing blocking the right and left side of it, because there are vents. Let me show you those vents and how I have my studio set up here. So let's just change to my webcam out, which is this one. So you want to keep the side of this open, so I have space between my ATEMs, and I also try to keep the studio really cold. So ATEM mini vent right there. This is my Extreme number 2, which I'm using also as I'm live. So the vents are on the side. I don't remember any vents on the back because that's where all the hookups are. So that is the number one thing you need to do to keep it from overheating, and then make sure you have an air conditioner on. They are designed to run all the time. They have very quiet fans. That's not true about some of the older devices that Blackmagic Design came out with, but that is true with the ATEM Mini, the ATEM Mini SDI model, the ATEM Extreme ISO, and the Extreme SDI model. I've not owned any rack mount ATEMs in my history, so that would be a question that some of you guys would have to answer. 5 Blackmagic devices, but 2 are micro converters. So 5 Blackmagic devices K9 Striker has in his studio, and 2 are just micro converters. Now I have lots, if you count my SDI 6G converter that goes from HDMI to 6G SDI, so I can get 4K into my older HyperDeck. Now I can just bring in a HDMI into the HyperDeck HD Plus, so I don't have to have a converter anymore. So I rarely use my 6G converter, but my 6G converter also will ingest audio. So if I did want to sync a camera at a remote location and use my RodeCaster Pro, I could come out of my RodeCaster Pro 2, my second one, which is in a bag. I could come out of that into that 6G SDI converter, come out of my EOS R 4K into that SDI converter. I could come out of that SDI converter into the Cam Link, because it has an HDMI out. Then I could go 4K into a laptop and stream remotely 4K into my laptop, or if I had a RodeCaster video, I would just stream 1080p and let the RodeCaster video convert it. But again, that 6G converter has audio ingest, and that's really cool because that will help you sync the audio. Now again, short cables are super important. So you'd want a short HDMI into the 6G converter and 2 short 1/4 inches, so that the audio would be as close as possible. Remember, audio always travels faster than video, so you could still be off by 1 frame, which could easily be fixed if you were adjusting that in a RodeCaster video or adjusting that in the ATEM control software. So biggest hack is Companion for me. Cool. For controlling the ATEM, Grish is using Companion. That's a great hack. And technically, Companion uses reverse engineered protocol to connect to ATEMs, technically making hacking true. Laugh out loud. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that. Again, here's the link to my contact page. If you guys want to take advantage of that, just click on it later, or I'll put that link in the description here tonight as well, if I can get into that description. Glenn B. Keith, have you ever reviewed any of the Mackie EM series audio video gear? Just picked up a couple of EM98M mics for interviews and portable recording. They seem good so far. No, I've never owned any of those Mackie devices. I've worked with other Mackie boards. I am a Mackie fan. So I'm sure those microphones are great, but I have not used them or reviewed them, and nor have I been approached by those manufacturers to do that. So Gene Ballesteros, blessings, Keith. I will take those blessings, not Gene, Juan. Thank you. I will take all the blessings I can get, especially in this season that we've had lots and lots of loss. Okay, let's get into hacks. Okay, dive in. Hack number one. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Okay, I will steal one of these from I'm changing microphone, going to my wireless microphone. Gonna move the coffee after I take a sip. Hack number one. I use these to tilt up my ATEM Mini Pro. I'll demo this. Just put it under here. And now I'm going to go to my phone. I'm going to show you this now. So you can see this is a door stop, and I have it Velcroed onto the bottom of my ATEM. And so I have two in a drawer because I've been having this sit on my desk, and when it's up front, I don't need it at an angle. But all of these are using those. So these are larger, 5.5 foot door stops right there. And I use them on my HyperDecks. So this one was actually stolen from my HyperDeck right here. And so this just simply goes back under here like that. And it is Velcroed on. And that's how I tilt these. So that is hack number one. All of these have been tilted with these larger, and they're stuck under my little rubber mat. But there you go. Those are larger 5-inch, and these are shorter little 3.5 inch. And when I had my ATEM in the back here originally, I had 3-inch 3.5s on right here. Now I am going to pop those in the description later. I planned on doing it before we went live, but we had that issue where I couldn't even get to my description. So I am going to pop those in. The other thing that I absolutely love, and I want to change to a super source now for this, and we'll change what is in box 2. Pull this back over here. Box 2 and super source is now that. So my hack number 2 are these little switchers. Those of you that know, I don't know why it's not focusing. Put it on my desk. But this has 2 HDMI inputs and 1 HDMI output. You can see I have one on my desk right here. And you can see I have a single input, but I have 2 outputs. So, or 1 output and 2 inputs. So one of these is from my regular HyperDeck HD Plus, and the other one is from my other HyperDeck. So when I push this button, let me hit play on my other HyperDeck so that you see what's on there. And now I'm going to switch that button right here. Switch. You can see it takes a second, and then it changes inputs. So that way I can use this and change what goes in there. I don't know right now why it's going in and out. So if I want 2 inputs to come into one channel in my ATEM, I've used these as a hack right here. And this is just one brand. So again, 2 inputs in, 1 input out. So I could do this to have my HyperDecks on a screen so I could preview really large this HyperDeck, or I could do, which is this one right here, or I can switch by pushing the button to the other HyperDeck, and there it is. So we'll switch that back. And now it is back. So that is my first hack. And again, that's hack number 2. Then the other thing that I do is I use splitters. So here is a splitter right here. So I've got my camera, this camera right here, which is behind my prompter. You can see my EOS R right there. I have an Elgato prompter, really dusty, by the way. I have an Elgato prompter so I can see the chat. And then I come out of this and go to my ATEM Extreme, and this one goes to my HyperDeck. So if I want to record 4K in my HyperDeck, I should be able to just hit record. And if it's still hooked up, it has no signal coming in, so I have unhooked it in the back of my HyperDeck. Hit play, and it will go back to play mode. Let's double check this HyperDeck to see if I have it plugged in here. And it has no signal as well. So I've unhooked it at some point. Again, it is right there behind my studio. So 1 in from my camera and 2 out. And again, there is my prompter and my camera. And that was so I could go to come in and go out to 2 different locations. So that's the other hack that I like to use. So I use these to switch between 2 inputs and 1 output. And I use these for 1 input to have 2 outputs. Now, they always send the signal to 2 outputs. And I have 4 of these underneath my desk. I use it to split the HDMI outputs. I also have an Ori splitter. And let's see if I can get my Ori splitter on camera here. There it is. That is my Ori splitter. Let's see, is that it? Yeah, that is my Ori splitter right there behind all those cables. And that Ori splitter is 4 in, 1 in and 4 out. And that's how I get confidence monitors, again, around my studio. I've got a monitor right there above that camera. I've got one right there above that camera. It also goes to here if I want it to. It also goes over here, and this one's off right now. And it's been intermittent. I've had to wiggle the Ori to get this to come on. I forgot to turn it on tonight. I rarely switch to this camera, but yeah, there you go. So I have 3 locations right now. Plus, this is my 4th location for this monitor right here. And I can switch over to that if I need to. Sometimes I'll run my ATEM to this, and sometimes I'll run my Ori to this, depending on what project I am working on. So again, you can use a 4 splitter or not. So let me show you that here real quick. Let's go back to this view. And I want to just bring this up real quickly here. There you go. There's the Ori splitter. I'll put a link in the description later tonight. And that is 1 in and 4 out. So you can purchase that, or you can buy those smaller ones. They're available on Amazon. Really easy to find. So check those out. Let me go back over here. to me and a logo. Okay, let's continue down this list. Okay, let's do this. Go into OBS. While that's booting up, we're going to show you that now if you're remote and you just have a laptop with you, you can use OBS. You get it open here, my mouse, run normal. You can use OBS to display multi-view because now with firmware 9.5.1 from the software control for your ATEM Mini, your ATEM Mini Extreme, your Pro ISO, your ATEM Mini doesn't do it, but the ATEM Mini Pro, ATEM Mini Pro, newer STI model, there was an older STI model that doesn't do it as well. But out of the USB-C port, you can now display multi-view into a computer, and we're going to demo that here in just a second, if I can get OBS to work. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Okay, me and a laptop. So you can see that I have right now my ATEM coming in. You can see the same thing you guys are seeing is on the screen. This is ready to go live. I'm using my ATEM Extreme through this ATEM multi-view. So again, I can take it on the air and off the air. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the control software. Drag this over. I go up to output. I'm going to change the webcam out to multi-view. So now you can see multi-view on the screen. And so I could have OBS open and I could just go to the studio mode and I could see my multi-view off of my laptop because you're seeing my laptop. So if I was at a live event and I want to see the multi-view using the USB-C out and I want to use the HDMI out as a confidence monitor so everybody else could see the program, then I could use the HDMI out of my ATEM. So what does it look like if you go to an ATEM Mini? Let's bring the software back up here. I'll bring this back over in the way again. We'll go up here and we're going to connect to, oh, my ATEM Mini is not online here. So let me fix that. I keep an extra cable in my studio so I can plug things in. I just did the firmware updates for my Persona Studio Live 32SC. So now we have the ATEM Mini Pro on the screen. We're going to hit connect. And so if you were using your ATEM Mini Pro and you go up to outputs under USB, So you only have one HDMI out, and you have option to go out to all of those input. But on your webcam, you do have multi-view. So you can use multi-view as well in an ATEM Mini into OBS, and you can use it in Extreme. So that is my other hack, that you can literally bring multi-view out now into a laptop or a Macintosh or whatever, and use the monitor on the laptop as your multi-view for all of your switching view, and you could do it full screen. So if I wanted this full screen, I would just cut to my laptop instead of, so this is what I would be looking at on my laptop when I'm at a live event, and then the confidence monitor would be a complete different view. So that would be above the camera. It could be a big monitor, and now you could send program out of the HDMI. Or if you're really in a tight fix and you need to have a projection screen with stuff on it, then you could have that being used through OBS as well. And then you could send preview or program or multi-view out. Now, if you go to a Extreme, you have more outputs with update 9.5.1. With my Extreme, let's go back to my Extreme right here. ATEM Mini Extreme ISO number 1, which is the one that's live tonight. And if I go up to the outputs, I can choose a camera if I wanted to. So, but again, if I wanted to have any one of these inputs, even black, all of these are available. The other thing is another hack. If you want to record SuperSource now, I'm going to click on SuperSource in my web out. This is the USB-C coming from my ATEM Extreme ISO number 1 into my laptop. Same thing I would use for a Zoom call. So I would have it set to program out if it was for Zoom. Right now I have it set for multi-view. But what if I want a recording of SuperSource? I have an Extreme ISO. I can record all the inputs. I can record the still images. I can record all the audio. I even get a recording of the program out. But what if I want to record multi-view? The old way is I'd have to come out of one of the HDMI outs back into an input if I wanted to record SuperSource and then put SuperSource in the program. But watch, all I have to do is change this to SuperSource. I'll go back to OBS. That is chat. Where is OBS? There's OBS. And now you can see I have SuperSource in this window. It's infinite right now because SuperSource is my program out. But now I can hit record and record right here, hit start recording, and I could now record the SuperSource in OBS on my laptop or your PC or your Macintosh while I'm recording all the other inputs in my ISO Extreme, and then I could use those to edit it later. So if I needed SuperSource for a video I was going to upload, I was talking about SuperSource and I wanted everybody to see it in my video, I now can record everything that I do in SuperSource through OBS by using the USB-C out. And again, when you have an Extreme, you have 2 USB-C outs, so you can dedicate one. Remember, if you have an ATEM Mini, then you're only going to be recording one thing at a time, and that means you could only record multi-view into your laptop. And again, it's not a great hack for an ATEM Mini or ATEM Mini Pro, but it's a great hack for a Extreme. So back to me and a logo. So let's go back in to my software, change the output from webcam, SuperSource back to program, and now I have it set up for my Zoom calls. So again, that's the other hack. You have the ability with version 9.5.1, and there's newer versions of the firmware, so just update to the latest version, and now you'll have the ability out of the USB-C out to do clean program or multi-view from an ATEM Mini, ATEM Mini Pro, ATEM Mini ISO. But when you get up to the Extreme and the Extreme ISO or the Extreme SDI ISO, you have the ability to output all of the different inputs through your USB-C port, and you have 2 USB outs. So you could dedicate one for recording in OBS and you could dedicate the other one to a disc to do recording. So pretty cool hack that I think is really awesome. Okay. Now this hack is one of my other favorites. So let's fix super source here again. I think it's still set up. No, I got to fix it. So let's go box 2, back to this. Let's cut back to super source. So you can use an ATEM Mini Pro and the HDMI out. So here is the HDMI out, and I have it coming in and input to my extreme ISO number 2. So I'll put it in front of that camera right there too. So what does that mean? That means that I could take up one input, but I could gain 4 more. So if I wanted 4 really fast switching inputs, remember, when you cut from one input to another input in an ATEM Mini Pro or Pro ISO, it's instantaneous unless you're doing a auto transition, right? If I do an auto transition, and if I have it set to 0.5 seconds, or if I had it set to 2 seconds, you can see how long it takes to make that transition from one input. Well, let's set up an input. From one input to the other, it took 2 seconds. But if I don't want to do that, and I just want to cut, I can cut instantaneously, and I don't have the delay that I had. Wow, that's crazy. What did I just do here? Let's switch back here. What happened to my camera? Did I bump something here? Let me fix this real quick. Output 2. I just realized what I did. I forgot that my ATEM Mini Pro is where this camera, iPhone camera, comes in. So I switched it, giving you guys that demo. But anyway, you can use an ATEM Mini to add channels to your Extreme. You could do an ATEM Mini to add channels to your other ATEM Mini. I'm using a Extreme, which is another hack. So this has 2 outputs, and I have those coming in to channel 3 and 4. So I've lost 2 inputs on this ATEM, but I've gained 8 from that ATEM. In fact, because it has 2 HDMI outs, I can even assign this HyperDeck right here. I have my HyperDeck 7 and 8. I could assign 7 to this channel, and I could assign the key channel to this channel, and I could now use my keys in my Extreme number 1 to bring in animated graphics from my other HyperDeck. So I have this HyperDeck and this shuttle plugged into this Extreme because this takes up 2 channels. This takes up 2 channels. I have 3 cameras in my studio. I have a PC, and I also have a laptop, and then I have other devices coming in as well. Like I have an Apple TV under my desk. It comes into this channel right here. But right now I'm not using it. I'm actually using this channel right here coming in for my iPhone. So I can actually cast my iPhone to my Apple TV, but this has less latency if I plug it in with this adapter, which brings me up to my other hack. If you want to bring a camera in and not use some kind of NDI app into an ATEM, you just get this adapter right here. So I can't disconnect it and show it to you, but I can wrap it around a little bit. But I will put this in front of the main camera now so you guys can see it. But this adapter right here has HDMI input and a power plug-in if you want to keep it charged up. And then this side lightning goes right into my iPhone. If you have a newer iPhone and it's a USB-C, you buy the USB-C version of this, not the lightning, and you plug it in. You can actually buy this one and get an adapter lightning to USB-C as well. But I'm going to plug that in, and I'm using the older version of Filmic Pro. And I bought the original version. It was just a one-time fee. The newer version has to have a monthly subscription. So keep that in mind. But I'm using the original. You can also use the Blackmagic camera app. But now I have an input coming in to my ATEM. And I literally bring this ATEM into that ATEM and that ATEM into that ATEM. So I literally right now could bring any 4 of these channels into one channel in that, any 2 of those channels into 2 channels in that one, and that leaves me with 6 channels on that ATEM. I'm right here. Sorry about that. This ATEM comes in to one channel in that, so I can use all 4 of these into one channel in there. And I'm doing that right now by using my iPhone through channel 1. That ATEM comes out of the HDMI 1 and 2 out into channel 3 and 4 on this ATEM. So I can use any one of those channels into channel 1, which is channel 3, and channel 4, another one of those channels. And I love the matrix, which is my next hack. If you have your HDMI going to a confidence monitor, your HDMI out, you can switch what input by this hack on the front. This isn't a hack. This is just knowing how this matrix works. I can change between camera 1, 2, 3, or 4, multi-view or program on the ATEM. And then on the extreme, this can change what goes into this channel right here. And if I want to change what comes into that channel, I've got to go into the control software right here and go up to output and change what's in output number 2, which is right now, it's the iPhone coming in from the ATEM, channel 3, which is this output right here that says 4K, going into channel 3 right here, which says 4K. So, but if I want to change what's going into this input right there, I can just change the matrix. Right now you can see it's set to 2, but I could change this to any one of these just by pushing buttons on the matrix. So if I wanted that multi-view, I hit multi-view, and now it's multi-view. If I wanted input 1, there's nothing in input 1. Input 2, input 3 is my iPhone that I'm using. So there is my iPhone. You can see as I move it around, it's changing what's in there. Input 4, input 5, input 6, and we'll click on 7. 7 is my HyperDeck. I can hit play on that. Now you're seeing my HyperDeck, my Christmas video. And I'm doing that just by changing these buttons on the front. We'll go back to button number 2, and that changes that input. So I love the hack of using HDMI 1 into my main 3 input, and I can change what goes there by that. And then this one I always assign to 1 input from that device there. And that's usually my remote camera, which I'm holding in my hand right now. That's what's coming in to the live show right now. So if I go back to super source then and switch, right? Now you guys are switch, super source. Now you guys are seeing the multi-view, not the multi-view, but you're seeing super source where I have 2 boxes on the air. So that's the other hack. Let's go back to me and the logo. Take a sip. It's really hot in the studio tonight. It's about 100 degrees outside, and all this gear being on heats me up before I get to an hour and a half in the live stream. Okay, now HDMI out, ATEM Mini, HDMI 1 on the extreme. Again, that is that hack to be able to use the matrix. Then you can use ATEMs as extra inputs. and not have to use something as archaic as this little device right here. You can actually use this little device right here. And the ATEM Mini Pros are so inexpensive now, it's really a good choice over like an Ori, which I have underneath my desk, but that's designed to go to multiple monitor locations, where this is designed to switch like this device right here. And so you could buy this for a few bucks, or you could use ATEM and get 4 inputs. And so you could use one of these, an extra for, let's say, like a mobile camera. This could be another camera you want to bring in. 3 and 4 could be another HyperDeck that you want to bring, or 3 could be a HyperDeck you want to bring in and just play videos from. And 4 could be an extra computer, whatever you wanted. And then you could take the one HDMI out and come into your other input device. So again, I love that hack. Then the next hack is controlling your ATEMs with MixFX. MixFX is a great tool. This is for iOS devices only. It's designed by Adam Tao. I talk about this occasionally, but I can even change SuperSource layouts. So let's bring SuperSource back up, but let's change it to me and my laptop. So I'll hit my SuperSource button for that layout. But let's say I didn't want to have that layout and I want to do some animations from different layouts. So let's say I want this layout or this layout, or let's say I want to have this layout. Now I don't have anything assigned to channel 3 right now. So let's go into my SuperSource and let's make 3 something besides black. Let's make it EOS R camera. No, let's make this one camera 3. So now as I change between these 4 layouts, here's a 4-box layout. Now let's assign something to box 4 instead of black. We'll make box 4 my PC, and we will put something on my PC, which is right now displaying OBS. So let's bring up my Sky camera. And there you go. Let's turn the key off the air. So now you can see the new compressor feature that's available with the new firmware update for the Studio Live 32SC consoles. So now I have compressors available to me built in. I'm not hooked up to a laptop right now, but you can see this right now is a EQ. But if I wanted to go to compression, I have this tube compressors. I have a FET compressor. I have a classic comp compressor. Or if I wanted different EQs, I could do like this Baxwell. And I actually had the rack-mounted version of that EQ in my studio when I used to do mastering. But I had the real analog version. This is the version that goes inside the Studio Live, but that is a great EQ for the final mix. If you use that, that's amazing. So that's available now in the firmware update for Studio Live 32SC. And as you can see with MixFX, I can just quickly change the layouts. So if I want just a box with my background behind it, if I want a 2-box, I can program these. What if I just want to switch normally? I can go up here to my normal switch, and then I can transition from SuperSource. Let's put this on the screen. I can transition from SuperSource, which is live right now on the pad, and I can just hit the auto button, and now I've transitioned. So I can completely remotely control my ATEM with MixFX. Now you can also do it with Companion and a Stream Deck. That's my other hack tonight. So if you want to use Companion to control more than just an ATEM, because this only controls one ATEM at a time, doesn't turn lights on and off, any of those things. If you want to control more than just the ATEM that you have that you're using, then you would need to use Companion and a Stream Deck to do that. And that was one of the hacks that was suggested earlier tonight. So now let's go back real quickly into the chat. And let's continue to catch up here. Let me go to my macros here and put chat on the air. Okay. Do you ever lock time code from your Mix Pre to your ATEM Mini Pro? Do you use a Blackmagic converter from SDI to HDMI, or do you recommend another brand? I always use Blackmagic design converters. I have not had to do any locking. Again, my HyperDecks could lock together and sync if I was going to do like a live event where I needed to have my HyperDeck synced. My Mini does not have a time code sync built into it because it's the older version. So I only have one HyperDeck HD Plus, and it does have time code sync, but I only own one of those. So I cannot sync anything in my studio. But if I did have two HyperDeck HD Pluses, I would have the two of them time code synced. So right now, there is no way to sync my time code from my HD Plus into my ATEM Mini, but the ATEM Mini does have time code built into it. So does the Extreme, but I do not sync any time code personally. Good to see you, Tony. Glad you came. ISO record 4 cameras from 2ME by taking 4 SDI outputs, convert them to HDMI, and run them into a Mini Pro ISO. Works great. So what Tony's doing is he's converting the outputs from his 2ME, which is a console-mounted device, and it has tons of channels. I think 12 or more. Tony, remember, how is it, 12 each, 24 total? Let us know in the chat. But what he's doing is he's recording 4 of those by converting them SDI to HDMI, and then he brings them in to his, actually, he doesn't have to convert them, right? He's coming out of his ISO SDIs out into the SDIs in on that SDI ISO Mini. Or are you converting them? No, you are converting them. So if he had an SDI model, he wouldn't have to convert them. But Tony is using his ATEM Mini Pro to record ISO, to record all 4 of those inputs. So the 2ME does not have any recording built into it or encoding. So the reason he's doing that is he's still wanting to use the ability to record ISO tracks when he's going to mix down a file later. And he still has all 4 of those available for him in a folder that he can open up in DaVinci Resolve, but that's how Tony's doing it. And that's all of the other chat I see. So unless I just need to refresh, so let me look here real quick. In my other, I have chat opened up from 2 different computers. So let me look up here. Irish is here. He just joined late. That just popped up, finally came up. So you can see that in the bottom left-hand box because I don't have chat enabled. You're just seeing picture in picture. So, okay. So let's turn that off and let's put chat back on the air and let's do this proper right here. There we go. That's Tony's comment about how he is recording ISO recordings coming from his 2ME into his ATEM Mini Pro ISO, and he is recording by ISO tracks in his ATEM Mini Pro ISO. 20 inputs, 12 outputs, which is what I love the most about the 2ME, and I wish I had one, but it doesn't record and it doesn't do encoding, so I've never purchased one. But what I love about it is it does have all those outputs, and that gives you unlimited. You wouldn't have to use an Ori splitter. You could use all of those SDI outputs and go to whatever confidence monitors you wanted to. So in Tony's studio, he could go to 12 different locations and send whatever he wants. He's got a matrix to send whatever he wants through the control software to all 12 of those SDI outs. Plus he has 20 total inputs, 10 for each ME. So, and a 2ME is basically like having 10 channel ATEMs with 6 outputs combined. So 10 inputs, 6 outputs, 2 of those combined gives him 20 and 12. So that's really, really cool. Okay, let's finish the hacks here before we run out of time. Okay, talked about mix effect. Let's go ahead and bring up Companion here. Close OBS. Let's see, I should have Companion on my home screen here. Lots of programs open I should have closed earlier. Companion, where are you? There it is. So let me go to me and my laptop here. So I'm going to double click on Companion. I haven't done the firmware update or the new version. But let me open up Companion for you. Launch. Error. 1.72 unavailable, select another IP. What? You can tell I don't use Companion, so not sure what's going on. Do I have another version? Let's try this. I have two here. That's got an error as well. So can I start minimized? No. So let's go back to me and a logo. Okay, let's go back to me and a laptop. I got it open now. So, Companion, here's a bunch of buttons that I set up. So you can see I have mix effects available in here. I've got the Blackmagic ATEM Extreme ISO available up here. So I can create buttons on my HyperDeck using Companion. So Companion talks to my ATEM through my network, and I can create buttons to run not only my lights, but my ATEM. So again, I can even use Companion buttons in my Stream Deck. Again, I have my Stream Deck right here on my desk. Let me close these. Let me go back real quick to this channel. So there is my Stream Deck right now, and it's changed over to Companion. That's the page that I have selected, and it's getting that information over here in my laptop. And I don't use it, but I just use mix effects, but that is my other hack. You can download a free version of Companion. You can then get it set up in your network, and then you can open up the plugins for these particular devices, mix effects, as well as your ATEMs. So I have mix effects, I have my ATEMs up here, and so I can create these buttons to run macros. I can create it to open up a DVE. I have lots of these. You can call them whatever you want, but again, I'm not a big Companion user, so I am not the guy, but it is a great hack to give you control. And you can use it with whatever Stream Deck you have. I have it set up for the largest Stream Deck, but you can set it up for the smaller Stream Decks. I have that Stream Deck, and I also have this Stream Deck. So this is the Stream Deck Plus, and right now I have a plugin to do editing in Adobe Premiere. So I can go to the editing page, I can go back to the audio page, and I even have dials. I can click on different features for my dial. I can also click on different features using the touch button right here. And there's also touch built in. The touching it and that's a really cool Stream Deck as well. I like the knobs, and I like the push buttons and the touchscreen that comes on the Stream Deck. They also have plugins that make this an audio interface. It plugs in behind it right here. And it can also be a USB hub. So you can order those through Elgato if you want one of those in your studio. But that's not part of my hacks tonight. That is just really cool device. And there's all kinds of plugins available for using the Stream Deck. There's a company that I will put a link in the description. Let me make a note on links, plugins for the Stream Deck and Stream Deck Plus. So there, you can purchase them and then use them with Photoshop, OBS, DaVinci Resolve, and it gives you knobs and buttons to do all your editing, and it should speed up your editing to have a device like that instead of having to mouse around and click, mouse around and click. These are speed buttons to get you right to an editing screen or right to a tool you need. And again, it's a really good device, but again, not part of our ATEM Mini Pro and ATEM Mini Extreme hacks. Okay, we talked about Companion. OBS to bring in web cameras, and again, I use that all the time here in my studio. So what I will do is hook up a webcam in my studio for my Skycams. This is an example right now. I'll bring up a Skycam, and then there it is. So I'm using OBS from my PC to bring in this Skycam, and I can change what it's focusing on using my camera app. This is an Insta360 Link version 2, so I can change what it's focusing on. I didn't program all these tonight, so you're just seeing different parts of the studio, but I can also zoom out. And using OBS with the web camera, I can also pan around the studio using that camera and go slowly and can come right back down to my Studio Live 32 SC. And it's just going really slow right now. So there you go. And there is an up close look at that EQ plugin, even though there is a light kind of blocking that. So to bring that in, Skycam off the air, turn this key off. So that's a great tool if you want to put it inside a box. You can do that as well. So Skycam on. So that's a key on the screen, so I can put it in a box, and that's what I do with my still image at the beginning of our live streams. And then I can change where that camera is pointing. So I'll switch to the other camera that I also have hooked up. And so there's my shelf in the back. So again, I can change what that's focusing on. I have 2 cameras coming into OBS, and this one, I do have some program locations that I can cut to. Though it's not working right now. There you go. Back to my desk. Computers are hot tonight, so you can see my desk, and I can cut to different locations, just like that. Some of these have been programmed, some of these haven't. There is my shelf and my Batman and my Jack Sparrow, and there is the Obi-Wan Kenobi that we had on the channel last week. Just out of focus right now because it's focusing on my microphone that's in the way. So there's Obi-Wan focused in. So I love using Skycams, and again, OBS is a great hack for that. And so if you want to bring a webcam in through OBS, you just plug your computer into your ATEM, and then you project full screen. So we'll open up OBS here real quick. so that this hack makes sense. So here's OBS open. And again, it's showing my ATEM. So it's a little confusing. So let's go ahead and find which one is this. I think this is right there. So we'll change this to my web camera or my laptop camera. And we'll turn that on. There's my laptop camera, and then if I want that to project into my ATEM, I would go to studio mode, transition it over to the program out, right click, and then open in my Blackmagic Design HDMI, and that would then bring it into my, my device, and then I could switch to that particular view, which right now laptop is this view right here. And so now I have that camera, which is my laptop screen. I'm moving my laptop. So that could be a Skycam as well. I have 3 of them usually in the studio. I do not have my Skycam plugged in right now because I have my ATEM plugged in. So you guys are looking at this camera, and this is only 720p. So it's a poor example of what a webcam looks like. I don't like any 720p webcams anymore. I would prefer to have some quality webcams. So again, right click, close, and then it brings OBS back open because I was projecting to my laptop screen and it's duplicated in my ATEM. You don't have to duplicate to use this feature. You can have multiple laptops or multiple monitors plugged into OBS in the laptop, and it can project to any one of those. But because I'm constantly showing my desktop like I am right now, I leave it duplicated. So my laptop is duplicated with my Blackmagic Design ATEM, so that all the time when I switch to my laptop shows up on the screen in my live streams or in SuperSource as a source. So, okay. So OBS can display webcams. That's a hack. That's number 10. I've shared a couple other little things. Number 11, you can come out of a camera into a monitor. Do I have a monitor here? Yeah. So I have an extra monitor here. So let's put the power cable down here and open this up. So I have a monitor here. And the other hack is this monitor, which is a Parecki 5-inch monitor. It has an HDMI in, but it also has SDI out. So I could come from my camera into this monitor and then back out into my HyperDeck. And from my HyperDeck, I could come out into my ATEM. But if this had HDMI in and HDMI out, then you can have a confidence monitor. So you come from your main camera into this, turn it on. Now you can see what your camera sees. And then out of this to your ATEM. So if you wanted a confidence monitor, you could just use a device like this, or I put a link in the description below to a little HDMI in and HDMI out device, and you could use that as well. And then if this has audio, which is my other hack, like if this had an audio out, which it does, right? You could use one of these coming out of your HDMI out of your ATEM Mini Pro because it has no headphone out, and then you could use the headphone right here. So you could use this as a confidence monitor coming from your camera into it, from the output out to your ATEM. So you could have a confidence monitor right on top of your camera, and then you wouldn't have to have an output going to it. You already have an output coming out of your camera. So if you're always on that one camera when you're live streaming, this would be a perfect confidence monitor. And you could do that on every single one of your cameras in your studio, right? Because again, if it has an HDMI in and HDMI out, you can loop through it. Then if you also want to get headphones out of your ATEM Mini Pro, the Extremes already have a headphone output, but the ATEM Mini Pro, the ATEM Mini Pro ISO, and the ATEM Mini Pro SDI ISO does not have a headphone out. So how do you get a headphone? You come out of it into a monitor like this that has a headphone out, which pulls the audio out of the HDMI in, and then you can loop back out wherever else you need to go, and now you have the ability to have headphones. So hack one is a confidence monitor coming from the camera in the HDMI in, out of the HDMI out into your ATEM, and now you have a confidence monitor above it. And then if you have a headphone output out of your monitor, or even a computer monitor in your studio, if it has a headphone out, then you could come out of your ATEM Mini Pro, program out into your monitor, and then plug headphones in here. So now you can check your audio in your ATEM Mini Pro to make sure it sounds good, adjust your microphone. So this is a hack to be able to have headphones on an ATEM Mini Pro. And this is also a hack to be able to come from a camera to a monitor as a confidence monitor, and then out of it to your ATEM if you want a confidence monitor. So I keep this around. I have plenty of little adapters for SDI to HDMI that I can use if I ever need one. And this even has a Bluetooth adapter to be able to go directly to a Blackmagic camera, which I've never owned. And then I can control the Blackmagic camera remotely from this Parecki monitor. And it even has antennas to give you a better reach for that Bluetooth feature. So that I keep in my studio for remote shooting, though I'm not using it right now. It just stays on my closet shelf right up there. So that's two more hacks, 11 and 12. You can actually add a on and off to your ATEM Mini Pro by just putting in a little remote switch. So ATEM Mini Pro, ATEM Mini Pro ISO, the ATEM Mini SDI model, the Extreme ISO and Extreme SDI model, they don't have on and off switches. In fact, most of the Blackmagic devices do not have an on and off switch, and you can order a little inline on and off switch from Amazon, and that will give you an on and off. We talked about the headphone out. Then the last thing I wanted to show is the ability. Not only do you have the ability now to route whatever you want from your ATEM Extreme, output 1, output 2, your webcam out. If you go down to the systems wheel down here, you have lots of control inside here, and we're not going to talk about those right now. You also have abilities up here under File, and you have the ability to save startup state. So your macros, your still images that you have loaded in, you can save those now inside your ATEM Mini and inside your Extreme. In case you don't have a laptop with you, you could take it, you could get it all ready, get it all loaded up. You could go do a remote shoot. Your macros would work. Your still images would be, your lower thirds would be in there. All of that would work from MixEffects if you were remotely. So you could use MixEffect app, set up a little remote network, plug your ATEM into a switch, create a little wireless network, hook up MixEffects, not even take a laptop with you, because all you have to do is click on Save Startup State, and that saves all of the settings inside your ATEM Mini, so you don't lose everything once you turn it off and back on again. And then if you want to save to your computer, you just hit Save, and then it's going to ask you a location. You can name the file. You click Save, and it's going to ask you, what do you want to save? So if you only wanted to save your macro settings, then you could just save your macro settings. But I have it set to save everything. You can also click on select none, and then only click on what you want to select. That's a fast way to select none. Or you can select everything by clicking select all. But a lot of people don't know that feature's even in there. So you're leaving your studio, turning everything off and then back on again, and nothing's saved. So you can save into your computer, and you can also now save into the device. This has been around a while, but it is a great hack. And that's all the hacks I have time for. I mean, I have how to create macros quickly hacks. I have lots of other hacks that I have learned with ATEMs over the years that I've had them. It is a amazing tool. I love the ATEM Extremes, the ISOs. I love all the features. There's just lots of ways to hack these devices so they work better from you, as simple as something like this little 2 in, 1 out, so you could have 2 inputs into 1 input. Just remember that before you change outputs to it, you would want to switch which device is coming in. And lots of things that you can use with an ATEM Mini Pro. You can use little door stops to tilt them. You can do all of those hacks that we talked about tonight. And there's hacks for HyperDecks. There are hacks for your RodeCaster Pro 2. And one of the hacks that I'll throw in tonight as a bonus before we go is that with the new webcam out, you can do some recordings for your Zoom calls. So if you're training people on Zoom, that web out gives you the option to do some recording inside your ATEM differently. And Aaron Parecki talks about that on his channel. And he even talks about that in his video that I linked below. But the last thing I wanted to say is that there are lots of things that you can do with the ATEM Mini Pro that people don't even know about, because once you start learning it, you understand that there's tools like Companion, Mix Effects. You can even take the audio out of your RodeCaster Pro and bring it into your ATEM. So tonight's bonus hack, which I've shared before, but many of you that are new to the channel will not be familiar with this. So let's change what's in box number 2 to this, and let's go back to super source here. I use this HOSA switch. So I'm coming out of here, out of my RodeCaster Pro into this HOSA switch. And from this HOSA switch, I have 3 choices. One of them goes to my ATEM Extreme. One of those goes to my studio speakers in my studio. And one of those goes to my other Extreme. So if I needed to go live from my Extreme number 2, I can then just switch over to that. So when I go live, I choose number 3. That's sending audio into input mic 1. And you can see input mic 1 is on right now. Change over mics. Let's mute that one. And so that comes in right here. That's the headphone out. This comes in. And actually, I have the other channel coming into mic 2. But I can pull this one and put it in this ATEM. And again, I can use this HOSA switch. They make a new model of this, but I can come out of my RodeCaster Pro right and left, and then I buy these HOSA adapters. They are right and left 1/4 inch to 3.5 mini jacks, and I can pull channel 2 to show you what that looks like. So there is channel 2, and so it goes from 3.5 right and left to this little mini jack. And again, I could plug that into that ATEM. I could plug that into this ATEM. But right now I have it in channel 2 as a backup. And so I could go into the control software right now. And you can see right now I have mic 1 enabled, right? So if I was to switch this HOSA switch right now, Now I'm live in channel 2. It's a bit hot, so I'll switch back to the other channel. And now I'm back live on mic input number 1. So that host switch is our bonus hack, and that gives me the ability to bring my RodeCaster Pro audio in, and it does create some delay. That's why I have my audio set up so that I have 4 frames of delay on mic 1 and mic 2. And so if something goes wrong with mic input number 1 during a live stream, I can just switch the host over and I can use mic input number 2. I'm going to do it again right now so you can watch it happen. Now we are live through input number 2. Now we're back live in input number 1, and you can see that input number 2 was quite a bit hotter than input number 1. So that's it of the hacks. I hope you enjoyed tonight's live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Let's just get updated real quick in the chat, and then we are going to bounce out of here. Let's put chat back on the air here. Chat on the air. Tony says this might qualify as a hack. I looped a multi-view out of the 2ME to one of the inputs. This allows me to show the multi-view if I need to. Yeah, I do the same thing, Tony. I have split out my multi-view in my studio to go to my ATEM number 2, and then ATEM number 2 can come in to ATEM number 1 because they're always connected in my studio. It's the same kind of hack, but yeah, that is a hack. That way, Tony can bring multi-view on the air. Now, if I want to bring multi-view on the air, I'm just going to go to the same input that I was using right now. I'm going to go into my control software for my HyperDeck, for my ATEM number 2. I'm going to go to output number 2 and change it to multi-view. And then now, if I click on this output, you'll see multi-view on the screen. So that's how I do the same thing that Tony's doing. So if I need to show multi-view, train on multi-view, how to change it all up, that's another reason why I have 2 extremes in my studio. So I can split the multi-view out into ATEM extreme number 2 and then bring it right back in to one of my inputs. And that's exactly what Tony's doing in his 2ME. And he has plenty of inputs. He's got 20 inputs to do that. I do not have 20, even with 2 extremes. I have 6 in my extreme number 1, and I can bring the other 8 in to extreme number 1 using the other 2 channels. So I still have 8 channels total in my extreme number 1, but I can actually bring in 2 of the other 8 at any time because I have them as inputs coming in. Okay, must acknowledge this. Thank you so much, Hank, for that super chat. $5. Thank you so much. Great tutorial. Learned a lot. Well, I wish that this display would work better, but for some reason, the chat overlay does not show those super chats very well. That's just a little better, but it doesn't show the background. For some reason, they come in black and they just don't show up on the screen, where a normal chat shows up great. And I do not understand why the green doesn't show up. It's like it's being chroma keyed out, but I'm not using a chroma key. So anyway, thank you so much, Hank, for that super chat. I really, really, really appreciate it. And David says, great tips, Keith. Thank you, David. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, I will not be live next Tuesday. I am going to be camping up in the mountains. I will be back really, really late that day. No, actually, I'm not camping in the mountains. I'm going to be on a trip to Tennessee and not getting back from a flight till late Tuesday night. The following week, I will be camping, but I will be back Tuesday about 1 o'clock, and we'll go live Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So that'll be a fun stream. It'll be a short one. Not going to be super complicated, but I guarantee it'll be fun. K9 Striker says, what does the unclean monitor output look like on the HyperDeck Studio Plus, I could get anything out of mine except clean out, no on-screen info. Well, the clean output is supposed to have no on-screen info. That's the whole reason it's called clean out. I never use it. Even though I teach and train on the ATEMs, I get that question maybe once a year. The clean out literally is supposed to be a clean out. And I believe it's also faster if you're coming out of input 1. I think input 1 and then out of the HDMI out clean. That's really used for gamers to come straight through so their Xbox or their PlayStation can pass right through with no graphics over it. If that's incorrect, someone please correct me in the chat. I was looking for unclean. Juris Design says some good hacks, Keith. We'll go back and watch the beginning. Well, thank you. Thank you also, Tony, for wishing me great camping. So anyway, what does the unclean monitor output look like on a HyperDeck? The unclean, oh, okay. Well, on the HyperDeck HD Plus, let's fix this. Got to make a change here in my ATEM number 2. Output 2 is going to be output number 4. So let me show you this real quickly here. I'm getting tired, I can tell. Let's see, I want to go output 4. So this, if you use the SDI out, it comes like this. This is the unclean version. So if I hit play, you got time code. Turn that audio off for a minute. You got time code, you have codec is ProRes, you got the source is SDI, you got HyperDeck Studio HD Plus, that's the name of the device. It's in play mode. This is the SDI 1, how much time's left, SDI 2, and then you could actually have a USB SDI 3 coming out of the back of it. So you could have card 1, SD card 2, and then you could have a USB out in the back with a hard drive, and it gives you audio levels. So that's what the unclean version of the HyperDeck looks like. I used to use this switch to go from clean to unclean, but now I have it set to switch between HyperDecks. So I can't show you the clean version, but it's basically none of this information is going to be on it if you use the HDMI out of this. But if you use the SDI out, it's always going to have this data on it. Whatever's playing, whatever graphics playing, but it through the fill channel, but it'll always have this data information on it. So I hope that answers your question, K9 Striker. So that's it for me. Let me turn my HyperDeck off. Let's turn the audio follows video on it back on, so the outro reel will play. So thank you so much. We'll finish popping these up here. So that answers my question. I was trying to use the HDMI out as a monitor out, and that works great. It's clean. But if you want to convert the SDI out to HDMI, you'll get the dirty version. So, but you have to use the SDI out of the HyperDeck HD Plus and all the other HyperDecks for that matter that have SDI outputs out of it. I think the newer models also have that dirty SDI out, but it's not a dirty HDMI out. Again, dirty just simply means a bunch of data on the screen. That's what you don't want if you're going to record it or have it showed online. I would never use that version for an online video. So you never use the SDI out as a loop out. It's a dirty out. Now you can go into the SDI settings, I think, inside the device and turn that on and off inside the software. So you can make that SDI a loop out if you want to. I believe you can turn that off inside the HyperDeck XC Plus. So you're welcome. So thank you guys. That's it. It's 6:15. That's 2 hours and 15 minutes. That's long enough. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. I'm Keith. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on the other side.